Hey guys, tonight we slip into the quiet, misty world of a medieval abbey where sleepy monks tend strange, forgotten fruits in the stillness of dawn. You wake to the faint chime of a distant bell. The air is cool and damp, a thin fog curling around ancient stone walls. Somewhere nearby, gnarled trees hide odd treasures, lumpy quinces, tart crabapples, and peculiar medlars, fruits you've never heard of, nurtured by hands bound to silence. You probably wouldn't survive a day of their patient labor, trudging through dew-soaked grass in rough woolen robes. But let's try. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time in the comments. Maybe you're yawning in London or drifting off in Sydney. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey. Together. You blink awake in the dimness, the sky barely blushing with the first light of dawn. Your straw mattress scratches beneath you, a thin blanket, barely keeping the chill at bay. You're a novice monk, new to this 12th century monastery. Maybe somewhere in England or France, tucked in a valley where the world feels far away. The bell tolls again, low and steady, calling you to Lauds, the pre-dawn prayer. But your task comes first. You pull on your heavy tunic, the coarse fabric tugging at your skin, and shuffle out to the cloister garden. The air smells of wet earth and faint herbs. Rosemary, perhaps, or thyme, mingling with a sweeter, stranger scent. There, behind a low stone wall, rows of trees and bushes stretch out, their shapes ghostly in the mist. These aren't the apples or pears you'd find in a peasant's basket. No, these monks grow oddities. Fruits history barely remembers. Each one a quiet triumph of patience and care. You step onto the path, your sandals crunching softly on gravel, and peer at the nearest tree. It's a medlar. A mainstream fact tells us it's documented in medieval records. Monks loved these small, brown fruits, even if they look like tiny, wrinkled apples. You tilt your head, wondering why anyone bothered. A quirky tidbit floats up. They're not edible fresh. Monks let them blet, a fancy word for rotting, until they're soft and sweet. A process taking weeks of silent waiting. You chuckle to yourself. Imagine tending a fruit you can't even eat for a month. Historians still argue whether this was pure necessity or some holy quest for patience. A debate that hums in the back of your mind as you walk. The mist clings to your robe. The silence wraps around you, broken only by a distant crow and the faint rustle of leaves. You're here to check the trees, to guard these strange gifts against frost and pests. A task as slow and soothing as this morning's haze. You yawn, the cold nipping your fingers, and move deeper into the garden, ready to meet these quiet, curious plants. You shuffle along the damp stone path, your sandals scuffing softly as the misty air of the medieval abbey clings to your rough woolen robe. The cloister garden unfolds before you. A quiet patchwork of trees and bushes, their twisted branches heavy with strange, forgotten fruits. You're a novice monk, tasked with tending these odd treasures in the stillness. The world beyond the monastery walls, fading into a distant hum. The fog softens everything. Stone arches blur, and the faint scent of earth and overripe fruit drifts up, tickling your nose. You squint, trying to make out the shapes, gnarled medlars from earlier, lumpy quinces, maybe a thorny sloe bush hiding in the corner. It's a slow, sleepy job, perfect for a morning when the sun's barely peeking over the horizon. You pause by a row of low trees, their leaves glistening with dew. A mainstream historical fact settles in medieval monks, especially in Europe. Think 12th century England or France. Kept gardens like this to sustain the abbey, growing fruits for food, medicine, and even trade. You run your fingers along a branch, careful not to snag your sleeve, and spot a cluster of yellowish, knobby quinces. A quirky tidbit pops up. These weren't just for eating. Monks boiled them into thick, sweet pastes, a treat to break the monotony of bread and gruel. You grin, imagining a silent brother sneaking a taste, his stern face softening for just a moment. Historians still argue whether these gardens were purely practical or a quiet act of devotion, a way to honor creation through patient labor. You don't know the answer, and that's fine. The mystery feels as gentle as the mist around you. You move on, your steps slow and deliberate, the gravel crunching underfoot like a soft lullaby. A slow bush catches your eye. It's dark, plum, like fruits peeking through thorny twigs. You wince, picturing the scratches you'd get reaching for them. Good thing the monks had tougher hands. You circle around, spotting a fig tree, its broad leaves drooping, and a patch of mulberries, their berries staining the ground below. Each plant tells a story, a quiet secret kept by men who spoke only in whispers or signs. You brush a leaf aside, feeling the dampness, and notice a tiny crabapple tree, its fruits small and tart, waiting for a monk's careful hand. The air's cool, the silence is deep, and you feel your eyelids droop as you wander, lost in this strange, soothing orchard. You're not here to rush, just to check, to touch, to breathe in the calm of this ancient task. You stand in the cloister garden, the cool mist of this medieval morning brushing your cheeks. As you tug your woolen robe tighter against the chill, the faint scent of damp earth and odd fruits, quinces, sloes, maybe something stranger, lingers in the air, mixing with the quiet of the abbey. You're a novice monk, your sandals crunching softly on the gravel path, tasked with tending these peculiar plants in silence. The sun's still shy, just a pale glow behind the haze, and the stone walls around you feel ancient, steady, like they've watched centuries of sleepy mornings, just like this. You take a slow breath, feeling the calm settle into your bones, and wonder why these quiet brothers cared so much for such unusual crops. A mainstream historical fact drifts in. Monasteries across medieval Europe, say 11th or 12th century England, France, or Germany, relied on gardens for survival. They grew fruits to eat, to brew, even to heal sore throats or weary bodies. You glance at the trees, their branches heavy with odd shapes, and ponder the why. A quirky tidbit tickles your mind. Some monks planted these strange fruits, like the lumpy quince or the bitter sloe, not just for food, but because they believed tending them brought them closer to humility. A slow, silent labor for the soul. You chuckle softly, imagining a monk frowning at a stubborn bush, muttering a prayer under his breath. Well, if he could speak, that is. Historians still argue whether this was pure necessity, feeding the abbey through lean winters, or a gentle act of faith, a way to mirror patience in the dirt. You shrug, the answer slipping away like the mist. And it's fine to let it go. You shuffle forward, your hands brushing a gnarled branch, eyes tracing the rows of quirky fruits. There's a medlar tree, its brown, wrinkled orbs looking uninviting, and a cluster of golden quinces glowing faintly in the dawn. You picture the monks, silent figures in rough tunics, choosing these over common apples, maybe for the challenge, maybe for the quiet pride of it. Your eyelids droop as you wander, the soft rustle of leaves and the distant coo of a dove lulling you. You're not rushing, just here to soak in the stillness, to feel the weight of this odd, soothing task in a garden older than memory. You wander deeper into the cloister garden, your sandals scuffing the gravel as the medieval dawn wraps you in a cool, misty embrace. The air carries a faint whiff of damp soil and something odd, maybe the earthy, overripe scent of the peculiar fruits these silent monks tend. Your woolen robe brushes your ankles, heavy with dew, and you're a novice, moving slowly through this quiet abbey, tasked with checking these strange trees. Shadows of stone arches loom around you, and the soft coo of a dove blends with the stillness, lulling your thoughts. You pause, eyes catching a gnarled tree, its branches sagging with small, brown, wrinkled orbs. The mysterious medlar, a fruit unlike any you know. A mainstream historical fact settles in. Medieval monks across Europe, from the 12th century onward, grew medlars in abbey gardens. They appear in records from England to Italy, prized for preserves and winter stores. You squat down, peering at one, its leathery skin rough under your fingers. A quirky tidbit bubbles up. Medlars aren't eaten fresh. They're left to blet. A slow softening process, almost a rot, turning them mushy and sweet after weeks of waiting in straw or cool cellars. You grin, picturing a monk tiptoeing to check them, hoping they're ready, only to sigh and wait another day. Patience must be their superpower. Historians still argue whether monks grew these for practical calories or for some quiet, symbolic lesson in time and endurance. You tilt your head, the debate fading into the fog, and it's fine to let it drift. You run your hand along the branch, careful not to knock a medlar loose, and imagine the silent brothers tending this tree. Their hands steady, their vows keeping words at bay. The mist clings to your skin, the air cool and heavy, and you feel your shoulders relax, your breath slow. You glance around. Quinces glow faintly nearby. Sloes hide in thorny clumps, but the medlar holds your gaze. Its oddness is soothing in this sleepy, ancient garden. You're not here to hurry, just to linger, to soak in the gentle rhythm of this strange, quiet task. You shuffle through the cloister garden, your sandals whispering against the damp gravel, as the medieval morning hums with quiet. The mist swirls gently, cool on your face, and your woolen robe feels heavy, tugging at your shoulders as you move. You're a novice monk, tending the abbey's odd fruits in silence, the stone walls around you fading into the fog. A sweet, earthy scent drifts up, and you spot a cluster of lumpy, golden orbs on a nearby tree. Quinces, the so-called golden apples of this tranquil place. You pause, breathing in the calm, your eyelids heavy, as the dawn glows softly behind the haze. A mainstream historical fact settles in. Quinces were a favorite in medieval monasteries, grown across Europe. Think 12th century France or England. For jams, jellies, and hearty stews to warm the winter. You reach out, your fingers brushing the fuzzy, uneven surface of a quince, its yellow skin bright against the grey morning. A quirky tidbit tickles you. Monks sometimes called it the golden apple, not just for its colour, but because its tough flesh took hours of boiling to tame. Perfect for patient souls in prayer. You chuckle softly, imagining a brother stirring a pot, steam rising, hoping for a sweet reward after a long fast. Historians still argue whether quinces fed the body or the spirit. Did monks prize them for survival, or as a quiet nod to sacred abundance? The thought drifts off, as gentle as the breeze. You cradle a quince in your hand, its weight solid, its scent sharp and promising. Nearby, medlars droop, sloes peek from thorns. But this golden gem feels special, a quiet gift in the stillness. You picture the monks, silent figures in rough tunics, tending these trees between prayers, their hands steady and slow. The air's cool, the garden's hush wraps around you, and a distant bird chirps, lulling you deeper into calm. You're not rushing, just here to linger, to feel the sleepy rhythm of this odd, soothing task. You trudge along the gravel path, your sandals crunching softly as the medieval garden stretches out. Cloaked in a cool, grey mist, your woolen robe clings to your legs, damp from the morning dew. You're a novice monk, moving through this silent abbey with a sleepy purpose. The air carries a faint, sharp tang. Maybe quinces, maybe something wilder, mixing with the earthy scent of wet soil. Ahead you spot a prickly bush. It's dark, tiny fruits peeking through thorny branches slows. A rugged little treasure in this quiet orchard. You yawn. The stillness settles over you like a blanket. The dawn light barely cuts through the haze. A mainstream historical fact drifts in slows. Those small, bitter berries were harvested by medieval monks across Europe. Think 13th century Britain or Germany. For food, and even early liqueurs, preserved in abbey records. You edge closer, wary of the thorns, and study the dark, plum. Like sloes, their skin dusted with a faint bloom. A quirky tidbit pops up. Monks waited for the first frost to pick them, believing the cold softened their harsh bite. Nature doing the work, while they prayed in silence. You grin, picturing a monk squinting at the sky, hoping for frost, his fingers tingling in the chill. Historians still argue, were sloes a practical haul for winter, or a patient test of faith, trusting the seasons? The question floats away, light as the mist, and you let it go. You ease around the bush, thorns snagging at your robe, and imagine the silent brothers braving this prickly harvest. Their hands careful, their breath slow. The slow's deep purple glints in the dim light. Tempting, but tough. A quiet challenge in this sleepy garden. A breeze rustles the leaves. A dove coos far off. And your eyelids droop, the calm sinking in. You're not here to hurry, just to wander, to feel the gentle pulse of this odd, soothing task. Among the thorns, you ease along the gravel path, your sandals whispering against the stones, as the medieval cloister garden hums with quiet. The mist clings to your woolen robe, cool, heavy. You're a novice monk, tending this silent abbey's odd fruits in the faint dawn light. A sweet, green scent drifts up, mingling with damp earth. You spot a fig tree, its broad leaves drooping over a courtyard wall, sheltering small, tender fruits. You pause. The stillness wraps around you. A distant bell tolls softly. The morning stays sleepy and grey. Your breath slows, matching the gentle rhythm of this ancient place. A mainstream historical fact settles. Inn figs were cherished by medieval monks. Grown in warmer abbeys. Think 12th century Italy or southern France. Documented for their sweet flesh and long, keeping dried stores. You step closer, your hand brushing a leaf. Feeling the figs are soft, teardrop shapes. Still green, still fragile. A quirky tidbit tickles you. Monks often wrapped these tender fruits in straw or cloth against early frosts, fussing like quiet gardeners to save each one for winter. You smile, imagining a brother tucking them in, his hands slow and careful, hoping the cold holds off. Historians still argue. Did figs feed the abbey through lean months? Or were they a symbol? A gentle, biblical bounty? Maybe both. The thought fades into the fog, and you let it drift. You kneel by the tree, your fingers grazing the rough bark, picturing the monks in their silent dance, checking for ripeness, guarding against chill. A breeze stirs the leaves. Cool on your face, you notice the fig's faint promise of sweetness, a quiet gift in this courtyard. The air is still. A bird flutters faintly overhead. Your eyelids droop. The calm seeps in. You're not rushing, just here to linger. To wrap these tender fruits in the soothing hush of this odd, ancient task. You shuffle through the cloister garden, your sandals scuffing the gravel, as the medieval morning wraps you in a cool, misty hush. Your woolen robe clings to your arms, damp, heavy. You're a novice monk, tending these quiet abbey grounds with a sleepy calm. The air carries a sweet, sticky whiff. You spot a mulberry bush, its branches sagging with dark, juicy berries. Some already staining the earth below. The dawn light is faint, a soft glow through the fog. A distant dove coos, lulling you deeper into this gentle, ancient rhythm. You breathe slow, feeling the stillness settle in. A mainstream historical fact drifts up: mulberries were grown by medieval monks, especially in 13th century Europe. Think England or France. They were valued for their sweetness, for jams, for wine, noted in old abbey logs. You reach out. Your fingers brush the berries, their deep red and purple skins soft, messy. A quirky tidbit makes you grin: mulberries stained everything. Hands, robes, even stone paths, leaving monks with a sticky, silent chore to scrub away the evidence. You chuckle. You picture a brother frowning at his purple fingers, shaking his head in the quiet. Historians still argue. Were mulberries a practical crop for the abbey's table, or a messy luxury, a rare treat between prayers? The question floats off, light as the mist. You don't chase it. You pluck a berry, careful not to squash it. The juice threatens to drip, a sweet chaos in this orderly garden. You imagine the monks, silent in their rough tunics, gathering these, their hands stained, their pace slow, steady. The fog softens the bush's edges. The scent of ripe fruit fills your nose. Your eyelids droop. The calm sinks deep. A leaf rustles. A breeze cools your cheek. You're not here to hurry, just to linger. To tend this messy, soothing gift in the abbey's quiet. You meander through the cloister garden, your sandals grazing the gravel with a soft crunch, as the medieval morning hums around you. Cool, misty. Your woolen robe hangs heavy, damp from the fog. You're a novice monk, tending this silent abbey's odd fruits with a gentle, sleepy focus. The air carries a faint, earthy whiff, mingling with the sweet traces of mulberries and quinces. from earlier. The stone walls blur, fading into the haze. You pause. Your eyes catch twisted branches and scattered leaves. You wonder about the quiet choices of these long-gone brothers. A distant bell tolls. Low, soothing. Your breath slows, sinking into the calm of this ancient place. A mainstream historical fact settles in medieval monks across Europe. Say, 12th or 13th century Germany or Italy. Cultivated gardens with care. Fruits for sustenance, for medicine, even quiet trade, as old records show. You glance around, the thorny sloes, the drooping figs. You ponder their reasons. A quirky tidbit tickles. Some brothers picked strange fruits, medlars, quinces, mulberries, over common apples, maybe for rarity, maybe just to keep busy in the silence. You smile. You imagine a monk squinting at a lumpy quince, wondering if it's worth the effort. His vow keeping him mum. Historians still argue, did these odd choices feed the abbey's needs, or reflect some deeper whim? Did they crave variety, or was it holy patience at work? The thought drifts off, soft as the mist. You let it fade. You step forward. Your hands brush a leaf, feeling the garden's quiet pulse. Medlars bletting slowly, sloes hiding in thorns, figs tucked away. You picture the monks' silent figures in coarse tunics, choosing these peculiar crops. Their days measured by prayer and gentle labor. The fog cools your face. A bird chirps faintly. Your eyelids droop. The stillness wraps you tight. You're not here to rush, just to wander, to soak in the soothing mystery of this odd, ancient task. You trudge through the cloister garden, your sandals scuffing the gravel as the medieval day creeps on. The mist thins under a pale, rising sun. Your woolen robe clings to you. Cool, damp. You're a novice monk, tending this quiet abbey's strange fruits in a hush that feels ancient. The air smells of earth and faint sweetness. Maybe quinces, maybe mulberries from earlier, guiding you to a dim stone cellar door. You're here to dry fruits for winter, a slow task, and the stillness wraps you tight. A distant bird's call fades into the calm. Your shoulders relax. Your breath slows, matching the sleepy rhythm of this place. A mainstream historical fact drifts in. Medieval monks, especially in 12th century Europe, think England or northern France, dried fruits like pears and apples, storing them in cool cellars for leaner months. As old abbey records note, you ease the door open, the wood creaks, and step into the shadows. Wooden racks stretch before you, lined with sliced pears and apples, their edges curling already. A quirky tidbit tickles you. Monks sometimes sprinkled water on them first, keeping the flesh soft while drying. A fussy little trick for silent hands. You chuckle. You picture a brother sneaking a slice, his face brightening in the dimness. No words to betray him. Historians still argue. Was this pure survival, stocking food for winter? Or was it a quiet craft, a way to savor summer's gifts? The thought floats off, gentle as a breeze, and you don't chase it. You run your fingers along a rack. Leathery slices, warm with scent, soft at the edges. You imagine the monks, their tunics brushing the stone floor, laying fruit with care. The cellar's cool. The scent of drying apples fills your nose. Your eyelids droop. The hush pulls you deeper. You set a pear slice down, slow and steady, joining this patient task. A faint draft cools your cheek, and you're not here to hurry, just to linger, to tend these fruits in the soothing silence. You step back into the cloister garden, your sandals brushing the gravel, as the medieval day glows softly. The mist is fading under a gentle sun. Your woolen robe feels heavy, still damp, and you're a novice monk, wandering this quiet abbey, with a sleepy calm, tasked with tending its odd fruits. The air hums with faint sweetness. Dried apples from the cellar linger in your memory, mixed with a fresh, dewy scent. You spot a cluster of tiny, reddish berries on a low bush, service berries, a delicate treat in this silent orchard. You pause. The hush wraps around you. A distant crow calls. Your breath slows, easing into the stillness. A mainstream historical fact settles in service berries. Known in medieval Europe, think 13th century England or France, were grown by monks, noted in records for their subtle sweetness, perfect for fasts or sparse meals. You lean closer. Your fingers graze the bush. The tiny berries, soft and round, glowing like little rubies. A quirky tidbit makes you smile. Monks called them sarvis in some places, plucking them after prayers. A quiet reward for days of bread and water. You chuckle, imagining a brother popping one in his mouth, eyes twinkling, silence keeping his secret. Historians still argue. Were service berries a humble staple, or a rare delight, a treat to lift the spirit? The idea drifts off, light as the morning air, and you let it go. You cup a few berries, careful not to crush them, and picture the monks. Their rough tunics brushing the leaves, gathering these gently in the quiet. The sun warms your face. The scent of earth and fruit fills your nose. Your eyelids droop. The calm sinks deep. You're not here to rush, just to linger, to sample this delicate gift. In the soothing hush of this ancient garden, you wander the cloister garden, your sandals scuffing the gravel, as the medieval day glows gently. The sun climbs higher, warming the damp air. Your woolen robe clings to your skin, heavy and cool. And you're a novice monk, tending this quiet abbey's strange fruits in a soothing silence. The scent of earth and faint sweetness, service berries, perhaps, or drying pears, follows you as you climb a low hill. There, gnarled trees bear tiny, tart crabapples, their green and red skins peeking through the leaves. You pause. The hush of the morning wraps you. A soft wind rustles. Your breath slows, sinking into calm. A mainstream historical fact drifts in. Crabapples, small and sour, were common in medieval Europe. Think 12th century England or Germany. Monks grew them for jellies and ciders, noted in old abbey accounts. You reach out, your fingers brushing a rough branch, the little fruits, firm and cool in your palm. A quirky tidbit tickles you. Monks sometimes toss them to pigs too. A silent chuckle at the tartness no one could chew fresh. You grin, picturing a brother watching a hog snort at one, the quiet humor lighting his day. Historians still argue. Were crabapples a thrifty staple, or a crafty base for winter brews? Practical or clever? The thought floats away, gentle as the breeze. And you don't mind. You gather a few, their tart scent sharp in the air. And you imagine the monks, their tunics swaying, picking these under a windswept sky. The hill feels alive. Leaves dance softly. Your eyelids droop, the stillness seeping in. You tuck a crabapple in your sleeve. A tiny legacy of this odd task. And linger here, no rush. Just the soothing rhythm of this ancient garden. You ease down the hill, your sandals whispering against the gravel as the medieval day glows softly. the sun warming the cloister garden. Your woolen robe brushes your legs, still damp, and you're a novice monk, tending this quiet abbey's strange fruits, in a hush that calms your soul. The air carries a fresh, earthy scent. Crabapples and mulberries linger in memory, guiding you to a cluster of slender trees, their branches dotted with small, golden loquats. A gentle spring breeze sways the leaves, and you pause, the stillness wrapping you tight, your breath slowing, as the morning feels light and sleepy. A mainstream historical fact settles in loquats, though rare, were grown in warmer medieval abbeys. Think 13th century southern Spain or Italy. Valued for their sweet, juicy flesh, noted in scattered records. You step closer, your hand grazing a leaf, the loquat's yellow skin glowing, like tiny suns against the green. A quirky tidbit tickles you. Monks sprinkled water on them by hand, coaxing the delicate fruits through spring. A slow, silent fuss to keep them thriving. You smile, picturing a brother with a wooden bucket, splashing gently, his face calm in the quiet. Historians still argue. Were loquats a practical crop in mild climates, or an odd flex of monastic skill? Need or whim? The idea drifts off, soft as the wind, and you let it fade. You hold your bucket, the water cool in your grip, sprinkling the loquats. Droplets catching the light as they sink into the soil. You see the monks, their tunics swaying, tending these trees with patient hands, the spring air warm and kind. A bird flutters nearby, its song faint, and your eyelids droop, the calm seeping deep. You're not here to hurry, just to linger, to water these strange fruits, in the soothing silence of this ancient task. You shuffle through the cloister garden, your sandals grazing the gravel, as the medieval day glows warm, the spring sun climbing higher in the sky. Your woolen robe feels lighter now, the dampness fading, and you're a novice monk, tending this quiet abbey's odd fruits, in a soothing hush. The air hums with earthy scents. Loquats and crabapples linger in your mind, mixed with a faint whiff of dust from a path beyond the wall. You spot a wooden gate, and through it, wary travelers slump, their cloaks tattered, eyes heavy. You're here to help the monks share these strange fruits, and the calm wraps you tight, your breath slow and steady. A mainstream historical fact drifts in medieval monks, especially in 12th and 13th century Europe. Think France or England. Often gave food to travelers, a duty of charity recorded in abbey chronicles. You step closer, hands cradling a basket of quinces, sloes, and service berries, their shapes odd and inviting. A quirky tidbit tickles you. Monks sometimes slipped in a bletted medlar, or two a mushy surprise for hungry guests, watching silently as faces puzzled over the taste. You grin, imagining a traveler biting in, eyebrows raised, while a monk nods in quiet amusement. Historians still argue. Did this sharing feed the needy, or spread the abbey's fame? Kindness or cleverness? The thought floats away, gentle as the breeze, and you don't chase it. You ease toward the gate, basket in hand, seeing monks in swaying tunics, offering these fruits to dusty figures with slow, careful gestures. A woman in a worn cloak takes a golden quince. Her thanks a nod, and the silence feels warm, kind. The sun brushes your face, a bird chirps faintly, and your eyelids droop, the calm sinking in. You're not here to rush, just to linger, to share these odd gifts in the soothing stillness of this ancient task. You amble back from the gate, your sandals whispering over gravel. As the medieval day softens, the sun dipping low, painting the cloister garden in gentle golds and pinks. Your woolen robe sways, warm now, and you're a novice monk, wary from tending odd fruits, ready to rest in this quiet abbey. The air carries faint sweetness. Quinces, sloes, service berries linger in your mind, blending with the calm scent of cooling earth. You settle on a stone bench by the orchard, trees' twisted branches stretching above, leaves rustling in a tender breeze. Your breath slows, the hush of dusk wrapping you like a soft cloak. A mainstream historical fact drifts in: medieval monks, across 12th and 13th century Europe, perhaps England or Italy, rested in gardens like this, a space for quiet thought after labor, noted in old records. You lean back, hands resting on cool stone, eyes tracing medlars and figs, their shapes fading in twilight. A quirky tidbit eases in. Some brothers napped here, lulled by the hum of bees. The scent of ripe fruit, a silent reward for their day. You smile, picturing a monk dozing, hood slipping, a crabapple rolling from his lap. Historians still argue, were these moments for rest or gentle prayer? Body or soul? The idea melts away, slow and light, and you let it slip. You're safe here, the garden's peace cradling you as the sky deepens, stars peeking through haze. The bench holds you, firm and cool, while the air grows still, leaves rustling fades to whisper. Your shoulders ease, eyelids grow heavy, and the orchard's quiet gifts, those odd, patient fruits, surround you. A distant bird calls, soft and far. The day's work settles into tender calm. You sink deeper, the silence stretching long and gentle, carrying you toward rest. The abbey breathes with you, its stillness a lullaby, guiding you to a quiet, dreamy close.